It's your boy Heaven Hollywood. Welcome back to Take It or Leave It. Now, today I'm addressing something very important to me, and that is the era that I grew up of hip hop on, which is late 80s, early 90s. And I'm addressing the situation about Keith Murray. Now, everyone knows that lately Keith Murray been making his, media rounds. He's been on the Art of Dialogue, and Keith Murray's been doing interviews for years, and mostly we've heard the stories that he's been giving. But this time around, he's been giving some stories that he's never talked about before. So the main story that everyone has been talking about was him saying Foxy Brown gave him hardcore head, in a hotel while she was with Corrupt. He then said, coming out of the hotel, he spotted Corrupt. Then he went the other way, and Foxy went right to Corrupt. He said the East Coast, West Coast thing was going on. He felt as though she was trying to pit rappers against each other, yada, yada, yada. He also mentioned that Wendy Williams said, she spotted Keith Murray with Foxy Brown. Now, he then also said a few days later that he said that he gave Foxy Brown oral sex but never slept with her, and he gave SHAWNNA from Disturbing the Peace oral sex and never slept with her. Now, sure, you say, Heaven, people give these stories all the time. But the problem is, Foxy Brown has answered back and said, Crackhead Murray, wanna die for a lie. Ha, the guy hat alone should have told y'all that it's no bueno. So she's pretty much coming out saying this is a lie. SHAWNNA, after Keith Murray gave this, vivid picture of him giving her oral sex, responded back, I never met this man, but obviously I need to, because of the way he was describing him and Sean's relationship. They had a sexual relationship. He gave her oral sex but never had sex with her. And he also mentioned Ludacris saying to him when he saw him, and he said him and SHAWNNA was dancing up close in the club, he said Ludacris told him, nah, don't even do it to yourself, something like that. So he's bringing other people in, right, to these stories. All right? Here's why this is important to me, and this is why it should be important to people of that era. Keith Murray has always been known as one of the realest dudes to ever come through hip-hop. You could ask anybody on the scene. Keith Murray's always been about that action. He's had an issue with you. He would always address you when he saw you. There's stories out there about him taking a cab to the Palladium and punching Prodigy, God bless the dead, in the throat. There's plenty of people who has correlated this story. Also, the other, the Dame Dash story about Dame Dash getting hit over the head with a liquor bottle, and him chasing after Miss Info, and him beating up Kevin Liles. Like, these stories are all out there. And Keith Murray was never questioned about those stories. Of course, everyone knows about the Tupac story. You've heard about 4 or 5 people talk about Keith Murray and Tupac going, confronting each other in the House of Blues. These stories were all confirmed. He's been telling these stories for years. But now that he told this story, this is the first time I've seen anybody really debunk what Keith Murray's been saying. And the reason why that's important is you see more and more. And that's why shows like Drake Champs, Math Hoffa, Math Hoffa's podcast, shout out to them. That's why these shows are important. Fat Joe's podcast. Show that this is important because you're getting the old legends or the legends on, and they get a chance to speak their truth and tell some of the stories that were out there before social media. Now, this era is known as the golden era of hip-hop. We hold on to that. One of the main reasons why it's called the golden era of hip-hop is the authenticity of that era. People was considered real. They was really doing things. Everything Jay-Z was rapping. I'm still spending money from 88. Like, he was rapping real stuff without rap. I was crazy straight. I'm still spending money from 88. Things that was happening before there was the gram. Before there was the shade room. Right? So when you start getting people coming out saying that ain't true, then you're going to have people starting to say, well, if Foxy Brown said it ain't true and SHAWNNA said this ain't true, so why should we believe the other stories Keith Murray's been telling for all these years? People can't wait to erase the old heads from history anyway. They want to believe, they want to believe everything that's happening in social media. If I don't see it, it didn't happen. That's the era we're living in now. So because there wasn't Instagram, the only way that you get people to believe is if enough people come forward to confirm. Now, if it didn't happen, I don't expect Foxy Brown just to go along with it. Or I don't expect SHAWNNA just to go along with it. However, this is what I hope isn't happening. I hope Foxy Brown and SHAWNNA aren't looking at Keith Murray now, in the state he's in now, and saying, and denying it just because of the way, like, people now. So I personally don't see it. To me, Keith Murray's always act the same way. But everyone's saying, oh, he's on crack. People are saying that there's been several reports of people saying he's on crack now, and, oh, he's on a crack bench. You could tell he's cracked out. He doesn't look cracked out to me. This dude is still doing shows. He still look about the same weight that he's always been. I'm saying he don't look cracked out to me. Now, was he high? Yeah, he's the Philly Blunt King. So maybe he was high when he's telling the story, but hell, they all walk around high. So, but as far as being cracked, he doesn't look cracked out. This dude is still doing shows. You can look on his Instagram page, and that doesn't look like a guy that's cracked out. He wouldn't be able to be still getting shows. He look like he still got all his teeth. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't look cracked out to me. So for them saying that, I don't want, SHAWNNA was saying this man obviously needs help, second and third. I don't want them to look at Keith Murray now and then say, oh no, look at the way he looks. I don't want people to know that I was with Keith Murray back then. It's kind of like how Bobby Brown looks now, and he's telling all those stories about all the women that he was with in the 90s. But the thing about that is Bobby Brown telling them stories, and there's been nobody really to debunk it. Madonna didn't come out and say, no, that's not true. Even Janet Jackson, he told a story in his book and his biopic. Janet Jackson never debunked that story. So what I don't want, I hope that these ladies, Foxy Brown, I'm going to speak especially to Foxy, because Foxy's more from my era than SHAWNNA. SHAWNNA's a little later. Now, SHAWNNA is still out here in these streets now. So I kind of believe SHAWNNA when she says, I've never met this man. SHAWNNA comes across like a real chick, like, you know what? Because she even said, I obviously need to. Like, she wasn't really dissing Keith. She just said, y'all letting this man go out here like this. Y'all, where's all your friends? Right? I'm still here if you need to talk or what have you. Foxy's dissing him, saying, oh, look at his hat. You know what I mean? She's talking about stuff now, the way he looks now. Well, Foxy, I'm not really prone to believe you, because remember, Eve came out allegedly and told DMX I mean, told Corrupt you sleeping with DMX, and you said Eve was lying. Eve has never had no reputation of lying, and that turned out to be true. Other people confirmed that. Keith Murray confirmed that you was with DMX, right? Foxy, another thing about Foxy is she don't post no recent pictures. So that lets me know the only thing she posts are old pictures. So she doesn't want people to really see how she looks now. That's very telling. That's more telling than you think. So I'm really not prone to believe Fox as much as I am SHAWNNA, because SHAWNNA's still out here now, in these streets now, posting recent pictures, posting recent videos. And Foxy was like, she said Eve was lying. Foxy's made statements in the past, and then later on she said she never made those statements, right? Statements that was made before social media, that several people has confirmed her saying. Then later on she said she didn't say it because now we're in the social media era and you probably can't find it, or there's probably no proof of it. But Foxy Brown, and like I said, she won't post any recent pictures of herself. So that means she obviously don't really want people seeing how she looks now, because she thinks it's going to reflect what she was in the game. That's why I can't really trust her as much as I feel I could trust SHAWNNA, if you get what I mean. Because Foxy is saying, oh, look at his hat. You can tell he's lying by his hat. He's telling a story about something that he's saying happened 25 years ago. What does what he have on today have to do with Keith Murray in the 90s, when he was blazing the mic and known as one of the best MCs out? So please, to my 90s people, I need some clarity here. Like I said, man, this is important for our era. And anybody that grew up in my era should feel the same way. You should feel the same way. We're known as the golden era for the authenticity. And that's what we want to keep. We don't want people saying, oh, them niggas lying. That's all my era has, is their credibility, because there was no social media. And we're known for being the realest era. All of these other people going out here telling these stories in the 90s, nobody is coming forward and debunking none of it. No one's really questioning what happened, because you got more than one person coming out confirming it. So I'm going to need Eric Sermon to confirm that he told Keith Murray that Wendy Williams saw you and Foxy Brown coming out of a hotel. Keith named the hotel and everything. So he named the hotel and he was making it up? Ludacris, did you tell him don't mess with SHAWNNA? I need some people to come out and start confirming these things, because you know what? I don't want my era to be telling these classic stories and people be saying, Keith Murray was lying, so why should we believe this nigga? Our credibility and our word is all we have now. They trying to erase us from history. I'm not about to let it happen. Not on my watch. So please, y'all niggas need to get y'all story straight. And I need to find out who's lying. Don't start, damaging our era's, my era's credibility. So I'm going to call you on it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Your boy Heaven Hollywood for the IE Network. This is Take It or Leave It.